Why did Christ choose you? Why the eternal, almighty, all-knowing God chose you? Well, I believe this gospel might give us some answer, some light. So Jesus had started his ministry, he started preaching, he had done some miracles and the crowds were gathering. But you know what? Something was lacking. He was feeling what we feel in winter in Cheshire. He was feeling lonely. He wanted someone intimate, someone more close, somebody that will never leave him. So he did as usual. He went up the hills to the Father. Even Luke tells us he spent all the night talking with God. And there he opened his heart to the Father. So they were talking there, the Father, the Son, having this dialogue. And while they were speaking, the Father had the brilliant idea of the apostles. And not in an abstract way, he was thinking of names. He was thinking of you, Jacob Ringer from Nebraska. He was thinking of each one of you. I will invite you just to pause here and enjoy this beautiful, contemplate this beautiful scene, this dialogue of love between the Father and the Son, talking about you. So basically, you're a gift of the Father to the Son. You're a gift of the Father to the Son. He had already done this with Adam. Adam as well was feeling lonely. And we all know that it is not good for man to be alone. So in this, he made him fall asleep in a prayer, more or less. And he made for him Eve. Just in the same way, he made you for his Son. But you might ask, why? Why me? Why Luis? Why Anthony? Why me? Well, what if you ask Adam, why do you like Eve? What will he answer? I don't know, but he might say something like, I just saw her and I fell in love with her. I got in an ecstasy and said, at last, this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. Someone for me. All my being desired her. And I knew that all my life was meant to be with her. That's how Christ sees you. And then, what do lovers want to do? And sorry, if you don't believe me that Christ is that in love with you, and he chose you just because he fell in love with you, you have the chosen people. They were asking the same question. Why did he chose, the Almighty God chose us among the peoples, if there are a lot more nations? Well, Moses gave us this answer in Deuteronomy. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on earth to be his people, his treasured possession. It was not because you were more numerous than any other people, because you were not very amazing. It was not because of your talents or if you are a tipazo. No. It was not because you were more numerous than any other people that the Lord set his heart on you and chose you. It was not because of this. So then what? For you were the fewest of all the people. Not only you were not an amazing nation, an amazing person, you were the fewest of all the peoples. It was because the Lord loved you. Simply because of that. He fell in love with you. What do lovers want to do? Doesn't really matter. As long as they are with each other, what we hear. He appointed 12 to be with him. And then he said other things. But he appointed 12 to be with him. This is what St. John Paul the Great calls our supreme vocation, to be with Christ. And the good news is that you can always be with Christ. You don't need to be like right now in adoration, although it's an amazing thing. You can always be with Christ. Because when Adam went to work in the garden, in a way, he was still with his spouse. Because they were no longer two, but one flesh. And if you are consecrated, all his, you are one flesh with Christ. You can always be with him. And with this that we have said that Christ was lonely and the Father gave you as a gift to him, and that he fell in love with you, he chose you to be with him, it's also reciprocal. You remember when you were lonely, when you had this cry of your heart, and the Father gave you Christ to be your friend, your intimate partner of life. The only thing, and you fell in love with him, you saw him, you fell in love with him, and you want to spend the rest of your life with him. Doesn't matter if he sends you to preach to India, to Africa, or you become a toilet cleaner all the rest of your life. If you are with your beloved, the rest doesn't matter. Even the world can end, literally. But if you are with Christ, you have everything. So this is my invitation for you in this adoration, to go deeper in this multi-layered gift that is your vocation.